Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk about more Biomutant information, talking about the game, the story, DLC, microtransactions, and a whole bunch of other things. If you're excited for this game, hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell so you know when videos go live and when my live streams go live. I'll be streaming this game when it comes out. Please follow me on Twitter, link is in the video description. I know nobody actually really goes down there and presses it, but I would appreciate it if you did. And finally, leave me a comment and tell me if you like this game, if you're excited for it, what you're going to do on it, what character you're going to make. Hit me up in the comments down below. So before I go over a little bit of the in-game stuff, let's talk about the game as a whole. So, according to a Game Informer article, which I'll link in the video description if I remember to, there are questions here about the game. So, is there any kind of multiplayer element? Negative. Biomutant is an entirely single player experience. So it is just going to be a start to finish story based single player experience. There won't be no co-op, there won't be no multiplayer in any way, shape or form. To be honest, from what I've seen of the game, it doesn't need multiplayer. And if you really like this type of action RPG, I think it's not going to need multiplayer either. It looks pretty damn cool just the way it is. Will there be post-launch content? Will there be DLC? And it says here, other than fixing any issues stemming from player feedback, Experiment 101 currently has no plans to add any post-launch content. However, the studio stresses that doesn't mean it won't ever add more content. For now, though, it's focused on polishing up the base game. I think that's fair, and I think that's, you know, a good, genuine, open kind of conversation to have about the game, because people might go into this with like the idea of the game being something that it isn't. It's a single player game. It's 100% been made and finished, and all they want to do is make sure it runs smoothly, that there's no bugs, no glitches and stuff like that, and have the game that they've built be a really good top-notch game. And there may be some DLC down the line in the future, we don't know. But from the looks of other posts and videos and things that I've read and heard and rumors and stuff, it looks like this game is going to have a hell of a lot of content. Like, there's going to be obviously the main story quest line, but then there's going to be a whole heap of side quests and characters and things to do and track down, which I'll talk about in just a second. Another question was, are there microtransactions? So you have 5 classes in the game, but there's a 6th class called the Mercenary, and that will be available as a pre-order bonus, and the class will also be sold individually sometime after launch. And then beyond that, there is no microtransactions of any kind whatsoever. So if you just want a good solid story single player experience without having to spend an extreme amount of money, this is the game for you. There's going to be no microtransactions. You won't have to pay for like armors and how things look and shaders or whatever. Everything in the game is going to be available to you without any extra cost, except for the Mercenary class, and probably wouldn't be that expensive, to be honest. Probably like $10 or something for an extra class. And the replayability in this game anyway, with the 5 classes that are already there, I feel like an extra little class choice with a little bit of spending your money to get it isn't that big of a deal. And microtransactions in games over the past like 2-3 years have been absolutely insane. So I'm happy to see that they've confirmed there's no microtransactions of any kind outside of the class. A question here, will Biomutant ever come to PlayStation 5 or Xbox Series X? So Biomutant is PS4 and Xbox One and PC. So it's last gen consoles and PC obviously. So there's no like actual PS5, Xbox Series X current gen version of the game, and one won't be available at launch, but it hasn't confirmed or denied that a current gen version will ever happen. So you might get a current gen version. This game looks like it runs at 60 frames per second now, so I feel like it probably plays like a next gen, current gen console game. So if you wanted to know whether like buying a physical copy, you would have to buy PS4, Xbox or PC. And I really like this article because they're being very open, genuine and honest and succinct about exactly what to expect from this game, so people don't get their hopes way too high and expect something different to what the game is. They're just saying, we made this badass game. It's a single player experience. It's from point A to point B. Maybe some future DLC, but off the bat there won't be any extra DLC. They're pretty much just telling you this is what to expect, and that's rare to see nowadays in games. So I'm very, very excited that they are just being like, this is it, this is going to be the game. And it probably hold up for like a month, maybe 2 months, depending on how quick you can get through the entire game. So I'm very excited to see what this game has to offer. So one of the things that I've noticed is that exploration is encouraged in this game. There's a lot to do, a lot to see. The world is open and vast by the looks of it, and it's actually split up into separate biomes. So you'll need to upgrade your resistances to certain elements, because you might go into a bio area, you might go into an area that's frozen, you might go into an area without oxygen, and various other biomes. And if you don't put your resistances up, that means it looks like you're probably either going to take more damage or take consistent damage while you're in the area. So you really have to build up your resistances to be able to explore certain areas, which extends the game's life cycle, to be honest, because, you know, you might need to have like a set of armor to protect you as well. So you build up your resistances, but also your armor adds to the resistances. So there's going to be a lot of collecting and making up of armors and loadouts. And loadouts do exist in this game. There will be 5 separate loadouts. And what that means is that you can set up your character. So you could have a character with, I don't know, a weapon that has a banana with a wrench attached to it, and, you know, certain armors to give you certain stat boosts and resistant boosts. And then you can have another whole separate set of armors and weapons, maybe directed towards protecting you against cold. Now you can set up all of these loadouts and switch to them in an instant, like just be able to switch over to them. So the game's going to have a lot of variety, a lot of accessibility, a lot of fun, interesting builds, and, you know, it's just stuff like that. It seems like they've really thought about this game and introduced a lot of things to do in a single player game that you don't really see in a lot of other games. And speaking of bananas and wrenches, crafting is in this game and it looks absolutely wild. I haven't made a full video on it yet, but, you know, you pick up these items, and I guess going around and exploring, there's lots of like things that you can open, like cupboards and, you know, chests and bins and stuff, and everything you go into has a chance of dropping some kind of loot. And it looks like you can get very much a lot of add-ons for weapons. So you have like a base version of a weapon, I think. So you have like a sword, and then you can add things onto it, and you get that by exploring the world. And they say that there are 200 million possible combinations just for ranged weapons. They're not even including the melee weapons. So that really goes to show that exploring and going through and finding items and stuff is going to be very much worth your while, and that there's just going to be an impossible amount of variety in this game for you to ever even sit through and get through. It's going to be so damn cool. So to actually craft, you just do it from your menu, so you don't have to go to like a specific workbench or like an NPC or anything. You just go into your menu, you hit craft, and then you start crafting whatever you want to do. But there are workbenches in the game, and they are used to upgrade your equipment. So I'm guessing that means like make the rarity higher, maybe make it a bit stronger, etc, etc. And I'm assuming that when you actually upgrade your equipment, it's going to cost a lot more materials than it would to craft something. They also confirm that weapons don't degrade over time. So once you make a weapon, it's your weapon forever until you either break it down or sell it. And talking about exploration and like other things to do, it says here, what else is there to do in the world? And I'll just read this out word for word. We still don't know everything Biomutant's world has to offer, but you can seek out landmarks such as Lumen Shrines, Old World Vaults, Old World storages, among other side excursions. These areas come in sets. For example, there are 6 Lumen Shrines, and finding them all unlocks a secret reward. You can also find notice boards posting additional side activities, as well as all that stuff, as well as NPCs. It just feels like there's going to be a vast amount of things to do that aren't the main storyline. So you could really pump some hours into this game and get a lot of like really fun side missions out of it before even completing the game once with one character, and then you can do it all again on another character that has different stats and abilities in a different class. There's also going to be mounts that you can get out in the world, and it looks like you can like tame things or like get them in some way, shape or form. And there's going to be a lot of different mounts to help you get around the world a little bit easier. You have something called an automation, which is like a little grasshopper robot that you collect, and they use to scout the world and find hidden rewards and even new side quests. So going and find these little kind of intricate things in the game help you get more story and more things to do. And it does say that NPCs matter very much. In addition to giving out quests, characters can also point players towards hidden dungeons and other secrets. Go out of your way to talk to everyone you see. So it really does feel like wherever you go in this game, whatever you do, even just exploring, there's going to be absolutely crazy amounts of things to do, whether that's getting into fights, killing bosses, finding vaults or side excursions, doing side missions, talking to NPCs. getting dungeons, getting loot. It just feels like they have really thought about everything possible for an action RPG, and they've made it work really well. And that's kind of most of the things they talk about in this article. They talk about auras and stuff like that, but I've already spoke about that in other videos too. If I remember, I'll link it in the video description. If I forget, someone remind me, leave a comment, tell me to do it, and I'll find it and put it in the video description. Let me know what you're thinking so far. Are you excited for this? What do you think? Hit the comments, hit the like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the link in the video description to Twitter, hit follow on Twitter, just hit something, I don't know. Thank you for watching. I've been easynow. You guys have been awesome.